Hello, everyone, and welcome to Commission Corner. I am Vice Mayor Yvette Colbourne, and today we are talking trash, but in the most important way. Joining me is Ralph Trapani, Solid Waste Manager for the City of Miramar. We will be discussing what's new with Broward County management of waste and how Miramar residents can reduce waste by recycling right. Hello, Ralph. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for having me today.
Thank you so much for coming and spending some time with us today talking trash.
Absolutely. It's my business.
Trash is your business.
Yes, yeah. Business stinks.
Truly appreciate that.
Yes,
that is wonderful. You know, there have been so much conversation about the incinerator or no incinerator in Miami-Dade County, but lots of things are happening here in Broward County as well. There is a solid waste authority, and that authority has also prepared a draft master plan for the entire Broward County. So it certainly is time for everyone to start getting engaged and thinking about what's happening with our waste and how can we help manage our waste here in Broward County. So I know that you are on the technical committee. You're in the TAC committee for the authority. So it is great to have you here so that we can talk a little bit about that. So tell me some of the stuff that that has been going on in Broward County with the authority.
Yeah, sure. So the Solid Waste Authority of Broward County is 28 member cities whose collective goal it is to create policies and programs that ultimately diminish the amount of materials that we're sending to a landfill and or incinerator.
You know, you said 28 municipalities because not all municipalities in Broward County are part of it, but 28 municipalities have joined who want to work together. And the idea behind it is really so that we can have one way of managing trash and garbage in Broward County. So we're trying to unify and make sure everyone is on the same page when it comes to that. What are some of the things that have come before the technical committee?
Right, so that's an excellent observation. So what the Solid Waste Authority's Executive Committee has done is they've reviewed several recent studies, and they've kind of come up with this master plan, which is really a roadmap on how to get to zero waste, right? So zero waste aim is to reduce the amount of waste that's ultimately being sent to a landfill and or incinerator. Well, how do we do that? Well, we have all these programs that make it available that, you know, we want to make sure we recycle right. We want to give different options for materials, say like yard waste or food waste or recycling, but not just make those things available, make them available wherever we are, whether it's in your house, whether it's at your work, or whether it's at a park in the city of Miramar. We'll have all those options available for you.
But that is great because the more options that our residents have in terms of recycling is the more recycling will increase. And we want to know that we are recycling as many products as we can and as much of those products as we can recycle because it's better for our environment. You know, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is to manage our waste and protect our environment. And that's why the City of Miramar, we are promoting zero waste as well. So Ralph, while we are looking to the future, we currently have a recycling program here in the City of Miramar, and I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to go ahead and talk a little bit about that recycling program and maybe just remind our residents some of the things that they can recycle, some of the things that are like a no-no in the recycling world, and maybe some of the behaviors that we can start working on changing and encouraging some good behavior that would eventually protect our environments and protect the future for our next generation. So tell us, remind the public, what are some of the things that they should be putting in their recycling bin? And we do have recycling service once a week.
That's correct. So Miramar continues to have curbside recycling services collected once a week on the appropriately scheduled day.
In the blue bins.
In the blue bins, right? Absolutely. And they're wheeled to make it easy for everybody. And you can put all your items in the container at one time. You don't have to separate them. So we want things like cardboard, paper, plastic water bottles or laundry detergent bottles.
Soda cans.
Soda cans, very good. Tin cans. And glass, whether they're white, green or brown.
Clear.
Brown and
it
clear.
doesn't matter.
Correct. Right. I don't have to tell but you know.
So regardless of whether it's clear, brown, green, you can put you're actually encouraged to put
correct.
the glass.
Right. It doesn't matter if it's a water bottle, a glass water bottle, a wine bottle. You can put those in there, especially. Those are very valuable. But those are items we're trying to look to get out of the waste stream and get them into our recycle stream.
So we know how important it is to recycle those materials. But what should we do before we put them in the recycling bin? Should we rinse them out? Is that best practice?
Yeah, best practice is clean and dry materials, clean being rinsed out, like you're saying. If there's still materials in there later on in the recycling process, it continues to cost money to clean the product and remove the other items that are in there. So yes, please clean and rinse those materials.
Clean and dry. So I know some of my best recyclers, if you will, they will make sure they have clean, dry materials, and then they will put them in a plastic bag and tie and put them in the. You're shaking your head, and then they put them in the blue bin. But you're shaking your head.
Right. We don't want any materials. They can just be put into your blue cart loose. No plastic bags. Don't put your products in a plastic bag, tie it and put it in, because that's considered contaminated, because the plastic bags are very difficult to recycle later on in this particular process.
In this particular process, the plastic bags, and we're talking about the plastic bags from the supermarkets
right.
and grocery stores, stuff like that.
Absolutely right. The very thin plastic bags.
Okay, that's a no-no for recycling. We cannot recycle it. Those are not recyclable in the current process.
Correct.
As far as our curbside recycling is concerned, because there are some other places that do collect those types of bags. Is that correct?
That is correct. A lot of the shopping market or supermarkets will have some smaller bins out front where you can put things like styrofoam, plastic bags, and some other hard to recycle items. So we encourage you to use those opportunities that are there for you.
So whenever that's there, they should definitely use that in order to recycle those things.
Right.
But for those wonderful recyclers who are taking care of their products, their recycling products, making sure they're clean and dry, just toss them in the blue bin. You don't have to put them in another bag or in another container. That's really the best way to do. Just toss it into the container so that it can flow easily.
Absolutely right.
But there are some other things that we should not put in the blue bin.
Correct.
So tell us, give us some ideas. What are some of the other things? Or I should say remind our community about some of the other things that should not go in the blue bin.
Right. So first of all, you can go onto the city's solid waste website, and we have what's called a waste wizard, where you can find out what particular items might go in either the green trash bin or the blue recycle cart, right? So things that we don't want in the cart are things like string lights or Christmas lights, textiles, greasy pizza boxes, different colored glass items, or even like windows or tables or shower doors. People think those can go in the recycle carts, and they cannot. Tires, obviously, you'd be surprised how many tires we get in our recycle cart.
Wow.
Yeah, so things like that.
All right, so we're reminding our community, reminding Miramar residents, no tires.
No tires.
No plastic bags, no clothing, and definitely no garbage.
Correct.
No garbage. Garbage goes in the green bin. And when we say garbage, we're talking about food waste, tree cuttings and stuff like that. That would be in your green bin, not in the blue bin.
Correct.
All right.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so very much. And I know that we do have on our website a list of all of the materials that can be recycled or cannot be recycled. We do have information there that if you have any questions, and that would be on miramarfl.gov. Is that where they can go for information?
That is correct. miramarfl.gov/solid waste.
/solid waste. miramarfl.gov/solid waste for all the information on solid waste disposal as well as recycling.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be good for us to encourage our residents to start changing some of their behavior. And, you know, we talk about plastic bags a lot, but at the same time, there's so many reusable bags out there. So wouldn't it be really good if our residents would start using reusable bags and stop using those plastic bags? What's your thought on that?
No, absolutely. Reusable shopping bags are fantastic. It decreases the amount of the plastic bags that are in the waste stream, which is always a positive, and it reduces litter as well. So yes, absolutely, use reusable shopping bags. Definitely recommend it.
Wonderful. You know, in fact, anything that we can reuse will help to save the planet.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. Reducing the amount of waste that we're looking to get rid of or needs incineration or landfill is a good thing, right? We can donate, we can reuse, we can repair. Those are actually several of the steps of the zero waste approach.
Yes.
Okay, recycling right, waste reduction, reuse by reusing furniture and donating and things like that are excellent steps to reducing the amount of waste we currently produce.
You know what, Ralph? I think if each of us would just start to practice, just do a little bit, do a little bit on our part, it would go so far.
Absolutely. You know, we don't have to do everything. We can't do everything.
Yeah.
But we all can do a little bit of something. And that little bit of something adds up.
It goes a long way.
It certainly does.
It goes a long way.
Right.
Ralph, it is always great speaking with you. Thank you so much for being on Commission Corner. I certainly appreciate you taking the time and sharing the valuable information and reminding our residents to recycle and just do their part in protecting our planet.
Well, thank you, and appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Take care. Thank you. Speeding in residential neighborhoods is one of the most frequent concerns I hear from residents, whether it's near schools, parks, or quiet cul-de-sacs. Traffic safety matters. Today, we're diving into what the City of Miramar is doing to tackle this issue and how to educate the public from both an enforcement and infrastructure standpoint. Joining me are Miramar Police Chief Delrish Moss and our City Engineer Sal Zuniga. Hello to both of you. Thank you so much for being on Commission Corner. Chief Moss, if you would, tell us a little bit about the challenges or the wonderful things that you're doing here in the City of Miramar.
Well, I'm the police chief, as you said, Delrish Moss, and one of the things that we're doing is doing everything that we can to better serve the Miramar community.
Thank you so much. And Sal, many people may not know exactly what the city engineer does here in the city. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hi, first, thank you for having me, Madam Vice Mayor. I am Sal Zuniga, the city engineer for the City of Miramar. I have many roles here in the city, and one of the roles is evaluating traffic calming devices in the city, and that's what we'll be speaking on today.
Well, thank you so much. So we are going to dive right into that, and we are going to ask Chief Moss, how serious of a problem is speeding in the City of Miramar?
Well, I think Miramar probably fares with every other city right now. Speeding seems to be a new thing. People are paying attention to everything except how fast they're going, and so we're trying to get them to calm that down.
So what are the things that your police department is doing to monitor the speeding issue and to come up with solutions to address it?
Well, there are a host of ways that we tackle things. One of the ways is we're out there doing speeding enforcement every single day. But one of the things that we look at is places where more accidents occur, places where we get more residential complaints about speeding, some of those areas to better target and address those areas more closely, especially when school is in session, looking at where the schools are, looking at the inflow and outflow of the school traffic and all of those things to make sure that we're addressing those as an issue, especially for children's safety.
You know, many times we observe speeding on main roads, but I think a greater concern, and all of it is concerning, but a greater concern for many of the residents is in, you know, our local streets where the kids are playing, where folks are walking, and, you know, you don't have heavy traffic, but you have people speeding. You know, what are we doing within the neighborhoods
Yeah.
to
Well,
assist residents with that?
Well, one of the things we're doing is we're taking those calls and those concerns. People send me emails, they talk to me about speeding all the time. Now, it's kind of a twofold situation. So in neighborhoods where people are speeding, of course, that's a big concern because kids are crossing, seniors are crossing, people are trying to cross, and in your neighborhood, you think that you are safe, and that's the place where you should be safe. But one of the things that we've learned over the course of years in addressing the speeding issue, the lion's share of the people who speed in neighborhoods live in
the
that neighborhood. And so when we do enforcement, the first thing I start getting is a lot of calls. Well, Chief, you called about speeding, but I didn't mean me. So one of the things that we have to remind people that in the last half mile of home, pay more attention because we're going to be there enforcing the speeding limits.
Well, one of the things that I'm hearing from you is that we all need to pay attention to our speed. You know, we really do, and in particular when we're driving close to homes and kids and that sort of thing. And not think it's always the other person. You know, we all need to pay attention to that. And the other thing I picked up from that, you know, you are receiving those calls, you are hearing it, and you are reacting to it. And I get calls and emails as well. And it's important for our residents to know that those are being received and that is taken into consideration as you develop a plan to address these issues. What message do you have to drivers who speed in those neighborhoods and ignore the speed limit?
I think my biggest message to drivers is that you need to take other people into consideration. I know that when we start driving, we're thinking about the place we need to get to, we're thinking about hurrying up to get home and all of those things. But there are other people out there, and one of the things that we always have to do is be considerate. The lion's share of tickets are written because a person was not considerate and didn't use due care. Most accidents happen because people are not considerate and didn't use due care.
Just be considerate.
Be considerate.
Be just that simple. Just start there, right?
Just that simple.
Some of the things we learned from when we were real little. just be considerate. How can our residents partner with you on addressing this issue?
Well, I think one of the ways is to talk to your neighbors. You know that neighbor that speeds into the neighborhood every day. Talk to them. But also continue to contact the police and let us know that, you know, during this hour or that hour, we're having the most of our speeding issues. During these hours when kids are playing, we're having the lion's share of our speeding issues. One of the things is that helps us to prioritize where we need to go because we can't be everywhere at once. So we have to prioritize these spots based on calls, based on speeding patterns, based on a host of things that help us better direct our resources.
So definitely having those conversations within their neighborhood meetings, their community meetings, and making the community aware of it and making you aware of it will help.
Absolutely. Remind your neighbors to just be good neighbors.
Be good neighbors. Be good neighbors. Absolutely. So Sal, as an engineer for the City of Miramar, how do you determine, because one of the things that I get all the time is they're speeding on my street, I want speed bumps. And that may be one or two individuals. Everyone on the block may not want that. So you have that back and forth of opinions within neighborhoods as well. But how do you determine, or do you determine where we place a speed bump in the City of Miramar? How does that determination happen?
Yes, and the way we go about this is by first, once we get a request from a resident and other residents that live on the street that they have a concern, we work with our police department to conduct a speed study of that street. The speed study it's meant to collect data to get a speed profile of what's happening 24 hours, not just 1 hour of the day, but for an entire day and for at least 7 or 14 days. So we try to look at a large window of what's going on. Once we get a speed profile, we determine what amount of cars are traveling. Typically, we consider offenders people traveling 5 miles or more above the posted speed limit. So we try to get a profile of how many cars are serious offenders to determine what is the level of high-level offenders occurring at that street.
And once you have done that and you get a study back, then that study will tell you should there be a speed bump there or some other device? What at that point, how do you determine what's the best way to address that from an engineering standpoint?
Yes, so once we determine if there's a serious level of speeding on the street, then we have a series of tools in our tool shed from an engineering standpoint to address speeding, which includes road modifications such as chicanes, such as bulb outs, such as raised islands, traffic circles, or even speed humps or feedback radar signs, which kind of like tell drivers to remind them to slow down. So we look to see what is a good fit for that street based on many factors such as the existing traffic volume, because we want to see how many cars we're going to be affecting. The most typical that you see out there is the speed humps, because speed humps are a lot easier to implement on low traffic volume roadways such as local roadways.
And they work. They do slow down
Yes, they do.
traffic as well. What role does community feedback play in the decision to have a speed bump or not to have one in a community?
So community feedback is actually one of the most important aspect and factors in determining the speed hump is placed, even if there's a speeding problems. The city has a city ordinance, City 1014, which governs and gives a process for installation of traffic calming devices such as speed humps. The ordinance requires that we get a majority of residents to support this, because believe it or not, a lot of people are against putting speed humps on their street, especially if the speed hump is going to be in front of their house. So the city ordinance defines majority by at least 60% of residents that live on the street of concern. And also we have to look affected residents, people that live on an adjacent street, because the adjacent streets are considered affected, because if you put speed humps on one street, now those people that are speeding might want to go to the next street and speed. So we also consider a large sample of residents along the area that we need to get support from them, that they're okay with installing speed humps, and we need at least 60% of those residents.
One of the questions that always come up is, does speed bump have an impact on emergency response? Is it a valid concern?
Well, it is a concern. I mean, speed humps do have an impact on more fire because of the heavier vehicles than police. But when we know those neighborhoods and we know that the speed bumps are there, we tailor our response to address that as a need. So it's not something that makes it impossible or slows us down so much so that we don't get to the emergency. We still are able to work around things when we know what's happening in a particular neighborhood.
Thank you. And Sal, you want to comment on that as well?
Yes, it does have an effect, and people need to be aware of that too as well, especially fire emergency response time, because of their heavy vehicle is going to slow them down to respond to an emergency. During an emergency, somebody having a heart attack, every second counts. If you lose 30, 40 seconds, even a minute to respond to that, that could be a life-threatening condition. So also emergency responders, they carry patients on the vehicle, so they need to be careful driving over those speed humps. So one of the things also that our city ordinance establishes is that before implementing these devices, we also consult with many departments in the city, including the fire, police, our public works, and even our utilities department, because they can be unintended effects on many other issues, not just fire, but also drainage. So there are many unintended consequences that can occur from speed humps. So we do get an approach and an evaluation from many departments in the city before we implement these devices.
So it starts with you,
Yes.
but it involves the public and many other departments in the city of Miramar before we make a final decision as to whether or not there will be a speed bump in the neighborhoods.
Correct.
Well, certainly appreciate that. And when we say it starts with you, for the residents who are sitting out there watching this and wondering, well, how do I apply? How do I start this process if there is speeding in my neighborhood and I would like some sort of a traffic device to slow someone down? How do we apply?
We have an application package to submit the request. That's the initial step. Submit the request to my department. Mm-hmm. You can go to the city's website under the city's engineering strategic development page, okay, and download the form and the application and email to us. The instructions are there. Or you can call our department at 954-602-3304 to request an application.
cityofmiramarfl.gov would be where you will go to download application for speed bumps, and at that point you'll have instructions where we can turn it in to your department. You can follow up on that. And Chief, if there is speeding in our neighborhood, is it a 911 call?
It is not a 911 call, but my email address is always there, my deputy chief, or just contacting the police department through the non-emergency line and letting us know is going to get you to us. And it's not a 911 call, but it certainly will get you the response you need.
Thank you so very much. It is about safety, and it is about making sure that 911 call does not come through, right?
Absolutely.
We want to prevent something. Thank you so much for coming out and sharing this valuable information to our residents here in the city of Miramar.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you. I am Vice Mayor Yvette Colbourne, and until next time, stay well, stay informed, and remember, we are one Miramar.